Well, why did you guys join Amazon? What made you get into this business?
Marcus actually encouraged me to come to the June 2019 conference,
Yep.
and I just went along to please him. But I got pretty excited by day 2 by what I heard from Alex and from yourself, and I could see there was an opportunity there for us to work a little bit less in the actual physical tradey life and do something online that would allow us to supplement our income and hopefully free us up a little bit financially.
Okay, now you're making some sales now. Now tell us, what are some of the things that you would say if somebody is listening to this call? What would you say were some of the mistakes that you made that you would say somebody to avoid?
Well, the very first mistake I made in July of last year is I didn't listen to Alex. I ordered 1,500 of my product rather than just maybe 100 or 200 and having a go at trying to sell that. So that was my biggest mistake.
Yes, that is a number one mistake that we tell everybody not to do, and you did it. But look, well, what that means is you got a great deal on him, right?
I did, but still, I'm sort of paying the cost now because when you're only making 1 to 2 sales a day, it's not that exciting.
Well, and
it's good, but it's not that exciting because I kind of missed getting into that market straight away when the product was very hot and trendy. Now I have to generate that trend by creating a YouTube video and PPC advertising.
Yeah, look, and I've got to tell you, Rael, though, you're now making sales, and I know it was a bit of a learning curve in the beginning, but the gentleman I interviewed today, he said the same thing. He said when he first launched, he wasn't making any sales. He started playing with the keywords, the negative keywords, the pay-per-click advertising, just doing a bit of tweaking. And he says, I only work like an hour or two a week or every few days on it. And he said, and he's making great sales. So it takes time to, I guess, refine your listing and refine the way you position yourself inside Amazon. And that's what you've been doing. And you are making consistent sales now. So it's
I am.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to get into Amazon Japan in the next week. So that's exciting as well.
Fantastic. Yeah. And of course, yep. You ordered 1,500, so that was a mistake. But
yes.
What are some of the biggest things that I guess you learned from the training and through doing the course that helped you to actually get to where you are today? What would you say some of the biggest, learnings you've had and lessons?
Definitely keep those 10 steps in mind and just go through them one by one. Don't try to jump ahead to number 3 or number 5. And just be consistent every day. Do something every day, whether it's posting on Instagram about your product or going back to the tutorials on the import-export coaching and just refreshing information that you might have forgotten. What else do? I don't know. I check my marketing every day. I check my PPC campaign every day. I still research. I still go on YouTube and Facebook and try to enhance my product in some way to make it more consistent for people to come and make that conversion on Amazon.
Yes. So looking back at it, would you say that your expectations in the beginning probably didn't match your skill level?
Oh, absolutely.
And this is a common mistake, right? Where everybody gets excited because they can see that, look, Amazon is a real business. You can make real money on it. But the way you make real money in anything, it's like there's a lot of, there's people sell real estate. There's thousands of real estate agents, but some agents make $1,000, $1 million a year, and there's other agents that hardly make anything. It's not the business, it's the skill with which you approach the business and how you go about it. So, the products you pick, that's one thing, but remember your first product is not going to be probably the best one or the last one you're ever going to select. So
absolutely.
Don't make the mistake that Rael made, but get less product and learn more about the business. And then your second product, you can approach with more confidence because how much more better are you now than you were when you first started?
Oh, much better.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at something else right now. We're only going to order 200. you know,
Yeah,
to test the market in 2 different varieties. So yeah, you have to become just a little bit more restrictive of your excitement, and don't fall in love with what you're trying to sell, because you'll get blinkers on. You won't really see the real picture. And
yeah, that was the
it
thing.
can actually, it still has to be competitive. Whatever you want to tap into, whatever niche you want to tap into, it still has to be competitive. There's no,
What you
you
what
know,
you
there's no
said was,
point falling in love with something and trying to sell that love, and people are like, I'm not interested.
yeah, we talked about it today. When you're looking at products, guys, you know, you're looking at that product day in, day out, and you can get really kind of blinded by it because you look at it all the time and you see how amazing it is. So you think everybody else is going to see it the same way as you do. But as you find out, Rael, it's not the case. You know, your product certainly is very good. You know, your listing is good, but there's other factors that have come into it. Obviously, we've had the COVID has hit. Now,
That's
you know, if
right.
you're selling in the wrong season, you know, like people can't go to the beach or go out. They're not going to be buying the
No,
product that you have, and
that's
so
right.
so you can't really, you know, you couldn't have predicted it. But that's why you don't want to order a big order up front.
That's right.
Which now, where are you storing the bags at the moment?
There's quite a bit in my garage here at home, and there's still quite a bit in China. But you know, Lee Line's wonderful. I actually had a chat to Charlene at the start of the year, and she said that's fine. I just pay her a storing fee, and
Fantastic. Yeah.
hopefully I can free up some of that and move it to Japan and get the Japanese ladies interested.
Yes, well, that's right. And again, you know, this all takes time though. So that's why, again, you don't want to order too much. You're better off paying a little bit more money in the beginning.
That's right.
By the time you add up the storage and all the hassles, you know, you're really better off just starting off with a smaller order. And that's why,
Absolutely.
if for whatever reason it doesn't work out, you can cut your losses and move on to the next product, you know, rather than
Exactly.
now having to, you know, pursue this one product because, you know, you've got 1,000 of them sitting around and you want to move it. So,
That's right.
okay. What else? Does anybody else want to ask you anything that's online? I see if there's any other questions. Okay, I said that.
If you have questions, guys, put it in the Q&A if you have questions at all for Raquel.
Yeah,
I
correct.
can't see the
I also want to
Q&A
say
though.
that, you know, we've launched you, Raquel, haven't we, in
You have.
USA, Australia as well?
Yes,
and
USA and Australia.
Yes, great. Okay.
Yeah. So the US is going fine. There's
Yes.
no interest at the moment in Australia, but you know, it is winter time, and I believe my product is something more that women like to take on holidays and enjoy in summertime. So
Yes.
yeah.
Without revealing the product, we have a question here. How do you go about getting reviews? What are you doing for reviews?
Okay, so I did encourage a few people that I knew. They were friends. They weren't on my Facebook or Instagram page, but I asked them, could you please buy a bag and leave me a review? And I was prepared to pay them for the bag, but they said, no, we're happy to purchase your product. And so they left me some reviews. I've had reviews through Amazon. You can actually pay Amazon, I think it's $60. And they generate reviews for you. So I've had a few from them as well.
Awesome. And that's just the US market as well.
Yes, mainly the US market. So I've had a few from Australia and I've had a few from the US.
Great. We actually had two people ask this
Organically.
question. So we had Ella and Sean, how you get early reviews. So that's basically, you know, people that you know. Another question here from Sue: How long before you decided to launch into another country?
Oh, straight away. I was always determined to do both the US and Australia straight away.
Oh. We had a question here from Ella in terms of the early reviewer program. How long is that for?
I'm not really sure. I believe.
Yeah, I was just thinking myself with the early review program.
I think it's until they actually give you a certain amount of reviews.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it is that as well. So
it's still ongoing at the moment. I've got a few from Amazon, but it hasn't finished as a.
But they guarantee one, and I
think they guarantee 5.
Yeah. Well, I think it's up to 5. So they guarantee at least one up to 5. So that's worth paying $60 for. And then what they do is they give, just to answer your question, Ella, they give you they give the people that bought the product a gift voucher for leaving a review. So that's kind of how they do
Oh,
it.
there we are. I'm there.
A question here from Amy. How many suppliers did you have to chat to before you found the right one you wanted to work with?
That's a good question. I actually spoke to 6 different suppliers, mainly from China, and I did get a sample from each one of them. In fact, I got a sample in 2 different colors at the time. And I did a product test of what the sample was like, but I also made my decision upon how they were communicating to me. If their English was really clear and they were very polite and quick in their responses, that made a big impression on me. Plus the sample.
Awesome.
And
We have a question here from James Weeks. If you have a review on your product in the US, can you use this in the Australian market?
Yes. So they apply to both markets, both in Australia and the US. However, I was told that I can't carry my reviews over to Japan, unfortunately.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I've been saying to people, if you start in the Australian market, you can get your reviews up here a little bit more easily because, you can, control it a bit more because it's your home country, and then they will carry over to the American store as well. So
Absolutely.
and this is not, I mean, your husband's got a product as well, and you guys, that's kind of that was the main product, but you've had, manufacturing issues, and we were just talking about,
Yes.
the issues of starting a new business. I mean, you guys have got I believe, a really good product with a lot of potential, but it's been a long journey just getting it manufactured and getting it done right, isn't it?
Yes, so you have to be very patient with the manufacturer. In fact, Marcus did a trip overseas when he still could and met the manufacturer himself and walked through the factory and looked at everything before he made a decision to actually place an order. So that was important. But yeah, there's been hiccups.
Yeah, and that's just. But guys, what I'd like to say to those of you that are kind of struggling a little bit, maybe and hitting a few obstacles, imagine having a retail shop. Imagine trying to set up a retail shop in Westfields, which is what this is, except it's online, right? I mean, you got to sign the lease, you got to fit the shop up, you got to put the displays up, put all the air conditioning, like there's so much work you got to do, and your rent's going to be exorbitant. And then if you're America, then you have a few rights and all your windows get smashed, So none of that happens in Amazon. So you should be happy. Like literally, it's so much simpler. And
That's right.
and it's, you'd hate to be a retailer in these times. I can tell you, but invested, $500,000 and suddenly you got no customers because everything is in lockdown and everyone's shopping online.
They are.
So you just got to understand that no success comes without hard work. Jeff Bezos started in his garage with a computer selling books online. But everybody said, you can't sell books online. They're just people buy them in bookstores. And within 10 years, the giant bookstores in America had closed down, Barnes and Noble, or 15 years, because he put them out of business. So you never know where you're going to end up, but don't expect to end up there after 3 months or 6 months or 12 months.
No, you have to be very patient.
Yeah, the first 6 to 12 to 24 months is going to be the most and the hardest work you're going to do because you know the least, and you got to be realistic about that. It's like trying to learn a sport or a foreign language, like it's the same thing. So it is a good business, but you got to have patience and you got to have the stickability and kind of focus on just getting better every single day, learning a little bit and moving forward a little bit every single day, following those 10 steps. And that's what you guys have done. And look, you're still as positive as the day you joined, isn't it? Aren't you?
Thank you.
Yeah,
I've got a question for you, Raquel. So what's your plan? You're looking at a few products moving forward, aren't you, right now? Is it for your husband, Marcus? Is that it?
Yes.
I know he's wanting to bring in a product in Australia. What about yourself for your range or brand?
I'm actually going to pursue a product with Marcus in conjunction together. So, yeah. We've actually spotted something on the market that we can actually improve and bring to Australia initially, and then we'll bring it to Japan as well. So yeah, it's in the textile industry. It's something that people love to have, and I think it's always good to find something that can solve a problem, that can help someone's lifestyle improve. So that's what I found.
Okay. So you're saying Marcus has done a product, you've done a product, now you're going to do one as a family, are you?
Together, yes.
Oh, fantastic. Maybe that's
Yeah.
the secret recipe.
Teamwork.
That's it. That's it. All right. Any other questions? Are you advertising on Facebook?
No, I'm not advertising on Facebook. I am on eBay now, Australia and the US. I'm on Amazon, US and Australia. And once the markets start opening up here in Melbourne, I'm hoping to go to some markets with my product as well.
Okay.
What's your niche, Raquel? I mean, without revealing the product, I mean,
Sure.
if you can.
Well, I don't mind revealing my product. It's fine. It's the handbags and accessories niche.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Another question, when you're listing in a non-English speaking country, how do you go with the language barrier? From an
Good
anonymous-
question. Okay, so I actually went onto Fiverr and I enlisted someone to help me translate my listing.
How much did that cost you?
About $200.
Okay.
Wasn't too bad because there was a
good.
lot to list. I mean, there was
Yeah.
it was quite detailed. And then I sent that over to the team, to Alex's team.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good.
So basically, Raquel, you translated. You sent to the Japanese translator what we did for you for your American and Australian. So the same
Yes.
thing. You just sent them the images, and they just translated that for $200.
So she actually, I would give her a chunk, and she would
Mhm.
translate it,
Mhm.
and I'll proofread as much as I could, as best as I could. I've actually got someone in Japan that can proofread it for me. Thankfully, my sister-in-law can do that for me. So yeah, that helps as well. But yeah, just rely on Fiverr. Fiverr's so good, and just look for the person with the best reviews.
Yeah, Fiverr is pretty
Can't go
good.
wrong.
We talk about it at the workshop a lot, but Fiverr is a pretty decent service. Yeah.
Sure
Awesome.
is. And affordable.
Awesome.
Okay. Any other questions before we go to the questions you've sent in during the week? You've got some questions to answer from during the week, Alex?
Yes, I do. I was going to, I think that pretty much sums up the interview, Raquel. Thanks so much for jumping on
welcome.
board. And
Anytime.
yeah,